defend the house, and then coming in against Zomba, who is the #1 seed, the New Jersey or the New York Devil here coming in with R.O.B.
Yep, you have Pharaoh trying to defend the house, and Zomba's trying to walk in the house with his shoes on. So we simply cannot have that. Let's see how this goes down here. Also, for the record, I've never seen Pharaoh and Beast in the same room before. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You could have fooled me. But Zomba already off to a pretty efficient start here, as Pharaoh has already hit triple digits, while Zomba hasn't even broken a sweat yet.
For sure, Pharaoh coming in, utilizing the egg lay, and then able to sort of get something going. However, Zomba utilizing the nair to recover, and then putting out the gyro just in time in order to stall out Pharaoh's landings. Gonna go for the F tilt here, and now Pharaoh coming back to stage, being sent off stage yet again with the egg lay, trying to get some more damage on Zomba, but it is really looking negligible here. Not dead just yet, but pretty quickly, and that fair from Zomba is going to be what takes the first stock.
Yeah, that was, you could have asked for a better start there if you're Zomba. As now Pharaoh starting to come to life a little bit here with these vertical combos, those up tilts on the platform into a couple of up airs, but having a lot of ground to make up here. Single hit bear into the F smash, almost enough to even things up for us.
For sure, Zomba coming out, taking some damage for himself now too with the gyro in order to try to send Pharaoh off stage as far as he can, trying to regain his footing here. Coming back to the center of the stage, Pharaoh utilizing the egg lay in order to try to avoid you can see him ducking there to avoid the gyro from Zomba, as Zomba opts to go all the way to the other side of the ledge to recover. The egg spin coming out from Pharaoh now as he's trying to edge guard Zomba, able to not get the up air though, as the back air coming out from Zomba at the last minute, able to hit Pharaoh onto the other side of the stage now.
Not going to whip the KO yet, but Pharaoh in a pretty precarious situation here. Still trying to get this first stock here as Zomba has lapped in percent here. Again, just not getting the strong hit he needs.
Yeah, for sure. Pharaoh potentially getting an edge guard situation here, but it's going to be Zomba who comes back with the nair, able to air dodge in order to avoid the gyro, but it was a ploy because Zomba is able to just come in and take the stock for himself. Gyro be damned, it is going to be his stock to take.
Yeah, and Pharaoh just having a hard time getting out of the corner here. Zomba's doing a great job just asserting his dominance and pressure, from center stage. That back air will finally get Pharaoh on the board here, but gonna have to really play this one close to the vest.
Sure, the side B coming out pretty quickly into the up air, not enough to take the stock just yet, but Pharaoh has been eating up a whole lot of damage pretty quickly against Zomba, able to send him off stage for a little bit, potentially get an edge guard, but Zomba opts to recover pretty high. Not able to get the up air like he wanted though, and it is going to be Pharaoh who finds himself sent off stage. Zomba just sort of going back and forth between this upper platform, trying to get some back airs and the nair. However, it is going to be Pharaoh who gets a little bit of damage going for himself, trying to get the down tilt, and able to send Zomba up pretty high now as he's trying to recover.
Yeah, and despite the early hole that Pharaoh found himself in to start, he's done a really good job navigating that. Has Zomba in triple digits, but the suplex gonna once again put him in a precarious spot.
Yeah, and just yet again, that is going to be a pretty quick two-stock there for Zomba. Pharaoh, I think, like you said, he was able to sort of try to reverse that situation as best he could at the very end, especially coming back from such a pretty big deficit. I think it took Zomba being at over 170% in order for Pharaoh to take that first stock, so he was feeling that. However, able to take that stock and then try to get his momentum going as best he could, but just sort of being stuffed out and cornered by Zomba at every turn.
Yeah, tough spot to put yourself in when, you're down by so much and you essentially have to play a perfect game to just get yourself back into it. So if you're Pharaoh, you're looking to maybe try to get the offense started a little bit earlier. Hopefully with some platform coverage of Town and City, you give yourself some opportunities to maybe chase a little bit higher here.
Yeah, you can see here Pharaoh, that seems to be what he is trying to go for. However, he is already on the defensive. Going to be able to get the down tilt, but not able to get a whole lot from it. The nair able to send Zomba onto the upper platform, forcing him to recover high now in order to try to avoid everything he can from Pharaoh, throwing up the gyro in order to sort of stall out some of Zomba's momentum. Able to get the up air, not able to get the stock just yet, but you know that he is gunning for it. Coming out with the egg lay, and then going to the upper platform and going to get hit by the gyro. Able to pick it up successfully though, throwing it at Zomba as he's coming back to the upper platform, going to the center of the stage, and it's Zomba who's trying to get these big nairs.
Yeah, again, if you learned anything from Pharaoh's earlier set against Hayes, that he's not afraid to play with tangible items. So, you know, showing your willingness to play around with those is going to just aid in your ability to extend these combos. And there we go, that backer from the middle of the stage. Pharaoh gets on the board early here, but 166 on the tab. Yep, the lead is immediately seized, and we're back on even ground.
Yeah, with both players being at full rage during that last stock, respectively, it's really going to be whomever can build up damage the fastest. And so far, it seems to be Zomba able to convert a lot of these nairs into gyros. But Pharaoh trying to get some aerials of his own, able to start with some up airs here, continuing to send Zomba upwards. And that is going to be a stock trade on the board. Zomba going to be losing that stock, and Pharaoh only taking a little bit of damage.
Yep, great stuff there from Pharaoh. Again, those are the sort of opportunities you have to seize, you know, in these situations against a player like Zomba's caliber. So now let's see how much extra credit you can tack on before you potentially meet your demise on this stock. Unfortunate there for Pharaoh, the platforms are transitioning out, so not going to be able to extend them as far as he would like to, but still able to generate some nice offense here.
Able to get some pretty quick damage here, and that is going to be the fair to seal out a game to Pharaoh. What a way to find that and just get that stock, sealing out a game for himself.
Yeah, great stuff there from Pharaoh. So guaranteed to see a fourth game here as we're now entered best of 5 territory. And again, that's exactly what you're kind of looking for by when that, you know, when you saw how that game went the way that it did the first time around. Signs of life. That's all you asked for.
For sure, and we're definitely seeing that from Pharaoh as he's been so much more patient this game. I have seen Pharaoh play patient games, although it is typically good for him to go for things quickly. You can see that he is coming out swinging stock number 1. This is exactly what he needs to build his advantage against R.O.B as best as possible. Zomba coming out with the up air and then sending Pharaoh off stage. Pharaoh coming back into the center of the stage, able to get the egg lay into the down air. Zomba not able to get his own down air. However, both of them just sort of playing around each other. Zomba able to send Pharaoh off stage, recovering and then getting the berry, getting the up tilt, not going to follow up with the up air as Pharaoh jumps upwards to the upper platform, going to get hit with that laser, and that up air going to seal out the first stock of the game for Zomba.
Yeah, great stuff there from Zomba. Again, very efficient, utilizing all assets of R.O.B's game very nicely. Then you see Pharaoh, you know, maybe trying to generate a little bit of space here by Z-dropping that gyro in place. Gets the spike, but just not in the position to get the follow-up. Zomba continuing to try to add on to this lead here.
For sure, you can see Pharaoh sort of jumping around a lot of the arsenal that Zomba seems to be throwing at him. However, the arsenal seems to be a big distraction for Zomba as it's been sort of good at shielding at what exactly it is that he wants to go for, such as these up air combos. Able to get the laser on Pharaoh as he's trying to recover, able to avoid the gyro, but just barely as he's able to come back to stage. The up air, though, coming out from Pharaoh as he's able to take the first stock. Finding himself at 96% of damage, though, he will need to make this up quickly.
Yep, gonna have to really play this one close to the vest here. Again, trying to find that up tilt to get that combo started. Able to get it there after Zomba, you know, used that side B strangely there. Again, just trying to find that big blow. Zomba once again able to create a little bit of space here.
Yeah, you can see Zomba starts jumping as soon as Pharaoh starts sort of going for the egg lay in order to catch the gyro back from him. But Pharaoh able to get the up air, and then Zomba coming back with the down smash, able to send Pharaoh off stage yet again, shielding in place to avoid the gyro, and then coming back in, able to air dodge away from the up air from Zomba. Coming back in against his shield and actually going to be sent off stage for a bit. You can see that he's sort of stalling out his recoveries and utilizing the egg throws in order to send the gyro away from the ledge.
And there will KO off the top, 188 And again, Zomba sub 70% right now. Pharaoh's really going to have to dig deep if he wants to get back into this game.
Yeah, you can see a lot of damage coming out from Zomba already, getting the footstool dare and then sending Pharaoh off stage into the gyro, just sort of piling on this percentage. Going to come back with the gyro yet again. Pharaoh having the gyro in hand, able to air dodge back to the ledge, but the nair coming out from Zomba, the laser air dodging in order to avoid it, catching the gyro as Pharaoh opts to come back, but going to be eating the gyro yet again as Zomba just continues to throw it at him.
Again, using that gyro to kind of get himself back towards center stage. Up tilt to the up air. Not going to be enough to KO. Once again, lands aggressively with that neutral air. And again, with every one of these trades, Pharaoh's chance of getting back into this game just kind of fall slimmer and slimmer.
Yeah, you can see Zomba utilizing a lot of his aerials to land. However, it is Pharaoh who seems to be suffering more for them because he's not really calling them out as much. Coming back to the ledge here, though, with the down air being sent off stage again with the gyro. Able to get the swallow, though, and then the dare coming out from Zomba, able to seal out game number 3.
Yeah, you see both players just kind of cracking a smile about that. Pharaoh knew that he was kind of going for some crazy stuff there, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do to, give yourself a fighting chance here.
Yeah, I think that Zomba especially plays a very smart game with a lot of his things such as the laser, such as the gyro, in order to sort of send Pharaoh somewhere where he wants him to go in order to go for the punish that he really wants. Like, the punish is not the gyro or the laser, it is the back air, or it is the down air coming out from him in order to get something for himself. And I think that's how items should be played.
I agree. That's a great observation there. And we're now going to go see Smashville here for the first time. I think for the entirety of our block here, Pearl. So let's see if the stage change makes a difference here for Pharaoh.
Yeah, the option to go to a smaller stage, opting to sit in shield here, though, and then able to avoid that, but not gonna get grabbed here, and then to the up tilt, not able to get the up air, but actually going for the back air, and then Pharaoh at way past full rage, but still able to recover, sort of opting to jump around, getting hit by the gyro off stage, utilizing the egg lay, and then Zomba not getting the back air, but now Pharaoh getting the potential to regain his footing, going for the egg spin, coming back in from the other side of the stage, jumping over the gyro, going to get F-tilted by Zomba, and then sent into the laser. He is past 200%.
He's certainly overstayed his welcome. The party was over hours ago, but again, that's the sort of thing you need to try to use to your advantage here. Again, these hits are going to be ever so stronger. I love how big the egg gets when R.O.B gets stuck, and it's so funny, like visually. Again, trying to utilize that platform for coverage against the center platform of Smashville. Does force your opponent to kind of approach Ernie a little bit differently, but that neutral area, as it's been for Zomba all night, the very unconventional KO move, but yeah, gets the job done.
Not so unconventional when your opponent is at around 250%, but you can see that Pharaoh going to try to prolong this damage as much as possible. Already got Zomba to 137% air dodging in order to come back, so as to keep his options available to him. And that is going to be the end of Zomba stock. Pharaoh going to get one, and then you see him trying to prolong this damage as much as possible.
Yep, just trying to find this way in here. Again, Zomba going for the high recovery, knowing that there isn't much that Pharaoh can do without putting himself in danger there, and again gets the grab. Once again, setting up here in the center stage.
Yeah, you can see Pharaoh jumping a lot to this upper platform in order to retreat, getting hit by the gyro off stage, and now being sent farther off stage by Zomba, coming back to the ledge here, and then able to snuff out Zomba's back air that he wanted to get. Coming back in underneath this upper platform, not able to get the swallow that he wanted, being sent off stage yet again, and utilizing the egg lay and the down B in order to snap to the ledge.
It has gyro in hand, and again, okay, good read on the roll there. So we're going to continue to slug it out here. It gets the trade, and there we go. You coming out on the better end of the GameStop trade. You got some pretty decent store credit for that one.
For sure, if you are Pharaoh, you want to try to rack on as much damage with the rage that you have as long as possible, especially being full rage now for Pharaoh, not able to get out of that. However, coming back in off stage versus Zomba, that up air coming out, and that is going to be the end of the full rage for Pharaoh.
Yeah, excellent stuff right there from Zomba to even things up here, not letting that rage become a factor here. Again, gets those last couple hits of down air. You know, you see Pharaoh being very, very careful here. He knows that any sort of missed punish here could result in a big extension for Zomba.
Especially since Zomba has been the one with the upper hand this entire stock. Zomba air dodging to the upper platform, but Pharaoh able to extend some of these combos, air dodging downwards in order to avoid the up airs from Pharaoh. But it is going to be Pharaoh who is able to continue this on, continuing his momentum here.
Yeah, good stuff there from Pharaoh, showing great resilience there, sending this to a game 5 winner takes all situation, Pearl.
You know, honestly, after that first game that he took, I was wondering if that was going to be the only game that we would get to see from Pharaoh, but I think that his adaptations that we've seen have been really refreshing. He's really been able to prolong a lot of his combos, especially being able to put Zomba into a bad spot, utilizing his up airs, and then being able to just continue on a lot of his damage chain has been really wonderful to see. And coming out with the green Yoshi for this final game 5.
Yeah, going for the lucky green, I guess. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, go with the traditional costumes here, see if it makes a difference. And we're going back to small battlefield again, you know, utilizing these biplats to maybe help you cover your ledge options a little bit better. And we'll see if it pays off here for Zomba.
Yeah, Zomba, you can see continuing to utilize these landing and nairs, but you can see Pharaoh sort of getting wise to them and then able to get some of his own punishes. Coming in with the up tilt though, and able to air dodge in order to avoid the up air from Zomba. Getting the egg lay and then trying to continue on with some of these up airs, but actually going to get the down B and losing that stock, however, putting some fear into Zomba.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see what Pharaoh's response will be here. You know, Zomba's been done a pretty good job being able to generate some offense quickly. As you see, again, just kind of hanging out, you know, up top there. Unfortunately, once Yoshi's utilized his resources, not really much he can do about that.
Yeah, going for the egg lay and now trying to further put Zomba off stage into disadvantage. Trying to go for something here as he's going from this upper platform and going to the lower platform on the stage. Zomba coming back with the nair, air dodging to the upper platform now as Pharaoh opts to sit and shield. And that back air actually is going to be a stock for Pharaoh.
All right, gets on the board here, and again, at a pretty reasonable percentage here. But Zomba able to escape any dangerous strings here. Good parry on that nair, though. That is an important thing to pay attention to here. There we go, the extension on the platform. That's going to get Pharaoh on the board here, one stock away from punching his tickets into winner side grands, Pearl.
You absolutely love to see that on this stage. I am so happy that this was the stage pick coming out. Going for the down air, trying to extend some of this damage now as he has 2 stocks to Zomba's 1. Zomba coming back down with the nair and trying to re-establish his spacing. Able to get the up tilt and send Pharaoh upwards as now Pharaoh is put in disadvantage trying to land against Zomba. Able to get yet another up tilt, jumping in order to avoid the up air, and Pharaoh is going to continue this. The air dodge from Zomba, so smart there in order to avoid something. However, that back air from Zomba going to take yet another stock. Still at 110% though, Zomba is at a deficit here.
Yeah, having to be very careful. However, it's not something that can't be easily surmounted by R.O.B here. You know, if you're Pharaoh, you're going to try your best to close this out. But here we go, Zomba. Starting to close the gap here ever so slightly.
You can see here that Pharaoh has barely gotten any hits. However, it doesn't take that many. The up tilt into the up air is going to seal out this upset for Pharaoh, taking a game 5 over Zomba, the first seed of the tournament.
Yeah, great stuff from Pharaoh. Again, great bend, not break mentality there. They're going to take a look at some of the highlights here. Again, 224 on the tab before he met, almost 230. Crazy stuff. Able to hold on to that stock for as long as possible. But again, just a real barn burner of a set between these two. It just seemed like, whoever was able to get the vertical string going first, the other person was never really able to get out on the other end of it.
I think you can really see that a whole lot of Pharaoh's improvement throughout this set has been due to his patience as a player, and I really do think that that's something that you don't always see from North American Yoshis. However, you really do see it utilized here. He was waiting a lot for Zomba, especially when he was making the high nairs or trying to go for the robo laser, but you could really see Pharaoh just sort of opting to wait and then able to go for his tried and true up tilt into up air, trying to get those confirms as best as possible. I do think that Zomba sort of had Pharaoh's number throughout most of the set when it came to their offstage interactions. However, you really saw that adaptation from Pharaoh that was beautiful to see, the way that he was able to reverse and get a game 5 situation for himself.
Yeah, no, great stuff for sure. Let's take a look at the real, highlights from this last game as well. Again, Zomba, with his trying to fight from the outside in, fairly often here as well. And here we go. We're gonna see that big exchange here. Coming up, gets that combo extension on the platform. That is what Yoshi does best. You get caught, teching the wrong way on a platform, you will pay for it with a stock.
As you could see there in that previous interaction, though, you could see Zomba utilizing a lot of his landing nairs or trying to use that in order to get in. It's a really good move, but it's something that Pharaoh was able to wait out and able to punish with a nair himself, able to send Zomba to the upper platform where he was able to really get those extensions on his damage. So I think that that's ultimately where Zomba lost this set.
Yeah, so excellent stuff there from Pharaoh. Again, clutching his ticket into winner side of grand finals. So going to have the shorter path to win this tournament. Zomba will be awaiting the winner of Phantom versus Sinister in loser semis. So we've caught up quite a bit in sets here. So we only got a few more matches for you guys tonight. And again, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight into the wee hours of the night.